live now DT, and of course we're on audio feeds on internet radio streaming around the world on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt and on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage where the MixLR feed is embedded. So happy to be here with you, hanging out where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Today is going to be an extremely special day for us, and I am more than honored and privileged to have the opportunity to bring today's broadcast to you. I am so grateful, I'm so honored, I'm so appreciative of what we're going to be able to do today on the show here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and it is an amazing opportunity to be able to share this moment with you, and I'm so very grateful that Jim DaRin gave me the opportunity to do this. So with that being stated, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, we will be here with you and celebrating Jim's life and celebrating something truly special that I got to do in Jim's home with him, and that is to sit down and speak with Jim about so much more than sports. You know that Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is where sports truly meets life. That's been the tagline here forever and a day. And I'm very happy to have that come to life with Jim DaRin's story today. So for those of you that are listening on audio, you'll be able to pick this up. For those of you listening and watching on video, obviously you'll be here to see it. But inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', the first part of today's broadcast will be part one of my video series. It's a two-part series that I did with Jim DaRin, and part one is going to air today from his home. Our fireside chat together will be airing today, and I'm very excited for the opportunity to bring that to you. Part one coming to you at 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time, and then part two will come to you tomorrow at 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time. So you'll be able to get part one today, and part two tomorrow will be coming to you. And then today at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, we will be joined by Jim Jerome. Jim Jerome, a teammate and friend of Jim DaRin, will be joining us here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And on tomorrow's show at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, we will be joined by Jim's brother, Tom DaRin. And so we are doing this, these next couple days are going to be a special to Jim. And you know that Jim's been on the show here. He was on the show just a little while ago, and he will be back on today on video for the first time ever. So a two-part series to officially usher in the month of February. Jim will be joining us for part one of our video special today, and part two tomorrow, both of them airing at 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Part one today and part two on February 2nd. And today, after you hear from Jim and see Jim, you'll hear from his teammate and friend Jim Jerome, who will join us at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time this morning. And tomorrow at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, we'll be joined by Jim's brother, Tom DaRin. So a show today and a show tomorrow in tribute of this Spotlight special to Jim DaRin, someone who played football at Jamesville DeWitt, went on to play at Syracuse University, and was injured in a tragic accident that happened at Miller Brewing Company. And that accident propelled him into the life that he has today, a life where he has twin girls. He also has his wife. He has a beautiful, beautiful home, and so many positive things and so many amazing people in his life. So as much as tragedy struck, so did the grace of God. And I'm very excited and fortunate to not only be able to sit down with Jim and to talk with him, but to have formed a friendship and a bond. And him and I have spoken a lot over these last few weeks. It's meant a lot to me. I've been up there to see him at his home, and obviously we did the special at his home. And this is the first time that we'll be airing it. So it's a very, very heartfelt ode to a person who is so positive and so awesome, you know, and just a truly kind man, a kind person, somebody who believes in God, someone who believes in putting things beyond yourself, you know, and to not just think of yourself, but to, you know, let that go and to just be the best that you can be. So, I mean, there's a lot that I can say about this man. There's a lot that we will talk about, but I can tell you that there was no better way to usher in the month of February. There was no better way to start things fresh than to have Jim's story here. And, to have part 1 today and part 2 tomorrow to break it up, because we did sit down for a while and have this conversation. So to break it up into 2 parts and then have on each of these days someone very special to him come on right after. So you see Jim, and then today you hear Jim Jerome speak on him, and then you see Jim tomorrow, and then you hear Tom DaRin speak on him. I think there's just something awesome about the fact that not only will you see Jim, but you'll hear from 2 people that love him very, very much and can speak about their relationship with him and the person that he is. So not only do you get to hear from Jim DaRin himself, but you get to hear from people that love him, have been around him, and seen him through this very challenging moment in his life that so many people will never be challenged by. And he was. And it led him to his home, it led him to his wife, it led him to his kids, it led him and I together, and it's a beautiful, beautiful road that's could have been marred by this tragedy, and he could have focused only on this tragedy, but instead he focused on love, he focused on God, he focused on his faith, and on being determined to do everything that he can. And it's really such a fruitful story, and it says a lot about people's resolve. It says a lot about your mentality being a key ingredient to your life, and it says a lot about faith and about believing in things even when you can't see them. Jim has been through so much beyond the accident, and yet he stays positive and he stays happy and he's stuck with it. So this man is a special man. I'm proud to call him my friend, and I'm proud to have him here on today's broadcast, A Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. This show is going to truly, truly be one of the best things that I've ever been able to share with you by every stretch of my imagination. I'm honored, I'm privileged, and I'm thankful that Jim gave me the time, and because really that's something you can't get back, right, is time. You can never get back time. And when a friend gives that to you, when a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a mom or a dad or a brother or sister, when somebody gives you their time, it's such a precious, precious thing in their life that you are given that they can't take back. And I think that that's why time should be spent wisely and should be spent around people that you truly care about. Sometimes all it takes is a simple moment to have a conversation, to say something, to mean something, and to have it stick and really be compelling. And Jim and I have had so many conversations, and the one that we get to share with you today goes far and beyond things that I ever thought that I would have. I'm moved. I think you should get your tissue boxes ready. Because I'm tearing up a little bit now. I'm honored, and I know I've said that multiple times, but I very much am honored that Jim took the time with me to do this and to sit in his home, in his sanctuary, and speak about his life and speak about his journey. Because we really don't talk a lot about sports. We talk a lot about everything else, and that's what Wake Up Call's always been about. It's been about where sports meets life. I found out how much Jim loves cooking and how that's, kind of therapy to him. It's special, it's creative, and, that to me is something really cool that him and I have been able to bond on, is cooking. And to hear that and to hear everything that is to come, you're really going to want to just pack it in, sit here, and enjoy the moment with Mr. DaRin as we have ourselves a heck of a day today, and just enjoy the beauty of life and the sanctity of it and of time. So, with that being said, in just a few minutes, Jim and I will be having our sit-down conversation. I want to welcome everybody in here. I want to welcome in Gene and Jimmy and just enjoy the beauty of life and everyone that's here with us this morning. Jim Jerome, I know he's
With that being said, in just a few minutes, Jim and I
checking this out,
will be having our sit-down conversation.
Is going to be watching.
I want to welcome everybody in here. I want to welcome in Gene and Jimmy and Jamie and everyone that's here with us this morning. Jim Jerome, I know he's watching
being here on YouTube. For those of you that don't have Facebook, or if somebody is going to be talking with a loved one and they're telling you they don't have social media, tell them to go to YouTube. They'll be able to pick it up. It is on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. That is
being
my
here
on
YouTube.
There's a direct link that don't have Facebook, or if somebody
on social
media
right now,
and they're telling you
through YouTube, they'll be able to pick it up.
Tell them to go to
YouTube. They'll be
for
able
those
to
of
pick
you
it up.
that don't have social media, you can go to
youtube.com/wakeupcalldt.
That is my
and you
live
can watch
feed
along with us.
There's a direct link.
You
can also listen to it
on social media right
version,
so that you have it.
Those of you that may be blind, and those of you that may be driving, whatever may be, whatever
social media,
whatever your day brings to you, and whatever the circumstance, I want to make sure that everybody can be a part of it. So we have an audio version that is available to you simultaneously today on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage,
driving, whatever your day brings to you, and whatever the circumstance. I want to make
sure
that everybody could be a part of it.
You this morning,
we have an audio version that is available to you
simultaneously
today on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage.
How kind he was with his time, and how awesome he was with letting me into his home. So
all of this
to Jim
here
for
you this morning,
and we are going to take
none
a
of
step aside for a fast
break
at this point. When we come back, you will see Jim DaRin and I
and
speaking to one another inside of his home.
And
our spotlight special
with
letting never ever want to forget.
Thank you
it
to
is
Jim
timeless.
It
is awesome,
and
it is with a friend.
Aside for
Part
a fast
one
break at this
of my
point.
special with
when
Jim
we come
DaRin.
back,
coming
you will
to
see
you
Jim DaRin
right
and
after
I
this
speaking to one another inside of his home in our spotlight special that you'll never ever want to forget. It is timeless. It is awesome, and it is with a friend.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. This is Dan Tortora of Wake Up Call here with Jim DaRin, and we're inside of his beautiful home here, and I appreciate the fact that you've allowed me the opportunity to come in here and kind of see the sanctuary, as I like to call it. Jim, it's been an honor over these last few days to get to know you, to talk with you a little bit, and obviously, off the air, we've gotten to know each other for some time here now, which has been great, and I really do want to say thank you for letting me come in here and do this with you.
Well, it's my pleasure. I enjoyed getting to meet you and talking about our lives and get to know each other better.
And in having that, for me, it goes so much beyond sports and beyond football. The tagline of Wake Up Call to Dan Tortora has always been where sports meets life, and your life has obviously been connected with sports and has gone far beyond that. Your outreach has been incredible, and since the article was written about you and different things out there, you and I spoke about how people have reached out to you. How have you handled that, and just what your thoughts are on hearing from people or maybe some strangers as well?
Well, I mean, it's so complimentary to hear people read about your life and say, geez, reading about this inspired me or gave me some hope or helped me get through something. And I think that's one reason I've been around all these years, that maybe it was for that. Maybe it was to, maybe I wasn't good enough to play farther than I did, or maybe I can't sing, I can't dance, and I'm not smart enough to be a doctor, and all those things. So maybe my job here on earth was to show people not to give up, to keep going, and to maybe just slow down a little bit, look at the little things in life and appreciate them, and appreciate your family around you, and feeling blessed every day, and I do. And that article at the end of it, what it said that I do is true, is I'm paralyzed, so in the nighttime I have to move 2 or 3 times to reposition myself so I'm not laying the same way in my last turn. I do is so to my right, towards the sliding door in the bedroom, so that each morning when my eyes first open, I look out to see the start of a new day. And I do get and feel thankful that I have another one. It's honest to God's truth.
And you said that, maybe your mission on this earth is to inspire. What inspires you?
What inspires me? Just being thankful. I mean, I look at what's happened in my life, and just the fate, things that have happened that I just shake my head and I go, it's just played out this way. Growing up where I did, I loved being out in the country and working in the farm, and being in that type of life. And I really enjoyed the outdoors. I can remember in my youth, grabbing my skates and a stick and going up on a pond and shoveling it off and skating and loving playing hockey and that. And in my family, I was second to youngest in a family of 8, and just sitting on the floor and watching, the way the family just moved and all the different things that happened. But then, like in the accident, after when I was up at SU and being involved with that, my sister being the prettiest girl in town and marrying a doctor, and at night when the explosion happened, my parents got called, and they were too distraught to drive up, so they asked my sister and brother-in-law to bring them up. And in that little hospital I was in up there in Fulton, they didn't know the extent of the injury. I was so big, they actually brought me in and they took a door off his hinges to carry me, in that. And he just knew by looking at me that it was more than just the damage to my head and my throat, that internally there was more. And he called upstate and talked to the neurosurgeon there, and they sandbagged me, had me brought there. So I'm thinking, okay, if that didn't happen, I'm dead. And then just, you know, oh God, all the things through fate of something that we look at as being terrible, but really a fantastic thing happening from it. And even though the last illness I went through 6 years ago, and just feeling like I'm at the end, and there's nobody out there to help me. And I went to the clinic one day for treatment, and my doctor was gone, and another doctor was there, and she saw what was wrong with me. She said, you know, I think there's somebody maybe could help you in Cooperstown, and give me that name. And then finding Dr. Huntsman,
Yeah.
right? And this is, if you read the story in the paper, I mean, this is a brilliant man. This is a man that has done surgeries all over the world. He's so well respected, and he and I now being friends. And I'm like, how could I? You know, I have no great mental, you know, wherewithal or degrees or anything, and I mean, we're really good friends.
Yeah.
And we communicate all the time. And all the people I've met through something you think is being adversity, something negative,
Yeah.
and meeting great people from that, you know, and I just laugh to myself, you know, that through life, through things that maybe you think are knocking you down, but the people that you meet through that are such fantastic, wonderful people. So each thing I've gone through, I don't look at negatively. I look at it as positive. I've met somebody new, and I'm here now and I've met you.
Yeah.
And I had never known you if all these things hadn't happened, you know? So my life is blessed. It's, I really do. I just shake my head. I just can't believe, you know, like the way you think things are going to be.
Yeah.
But then the way they turn out, but they turn out better than you thought what your life would be when you're young and you're projecting out, you know. No, it's life is really a blessing every day.
Jim, people, to go off of exactly what you just said, when we're projecting out and we're saying this is what the perfect life would look like,
Yeah.
it doesn't ever happen completely that way. Sometimes so far off from that way.
Yeah.
What's your advice to people when they try to, you know, because when I was growing up, and I know that a lot of people have heard this statement, they would say, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I would hear that statement at 16 years old, and I'd flip out. I'd be like, yeah, you know, I know what's good for me. You know, God's got all, you know, he's got to listen to me. And the funny thing is, at 35 now, almost 20 years later, when someone is freaking out about their life, I very calmly say, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Right.
There's the learning through the process of, we all think we know what's best, but we don't. And, you know, you and I have talked about, if you're not in this wheelchair, you don't go through everything you went through. If your life didn't have the series it had, then there's no Luann, there's no Aaron, there's no Shannon, there's no house like this. Like, there's maybe some of your friends aren't there, maybe there's relationships you built wasn't there. You know, none of these things happen if not for you telling God your plans and him going, yeah, that's not going to happen. So just to speak on that a little bit more, because that is such a frustration that people have, is I know best, and then God always seems to know better than we do.
Well, I think it's good when you're young to have goals.
Yeah.
You know, things to strive for. But there's also a saying too that there are many roads in life, and a lot of them are dirt. You know, and you're going to be on some of those dirt roads.
I like that. Yeah.
But I think that I think if you live your life saying this is the way that it has to be, you're going to constantly be unhappy.
Yeah.
You know.
Agreed.
Because you have to be adaptive, and you have to be willing to make change. And with the people around you, if you go in and say, this is the way I want this person to be, then you're gonna be disappointed. Being fluid, being adaptive, you know, the thing about it, and with people too, of that saying about leaves in the stream, and you know, as the stream flows, the leaves go apart, they come together. You're touched by different people. Life is fluid, and you've got to be fluid and adaptive in your life to get through it.
How do you learn to say goodbye to leaves that go away and to say hello to leaves that come together?
Sometimes I really think about it too. And I'm like, you know, I haven't spoken to this person in a while, and I would do that a lot, right? But I wouldn't do anything about it. And so I've recently made it a goal. I said, if I'm somewhere and I'm doing something when I'm thinking of a person, I'm going to make it a point to try to reconnect with that person. And this past spring, during this COVID, I was thinking of my sister Joan. And right then I went and I drove my car into a parking lot, and I put the car in park and I turned the radio off, and I called her up. And I said, geez, I was just thinking about you. We talked for maybe 10 minutes. She was just getting done with work, and we hadn't spoken, and she lived out in Indiana in 3 or 4 months, you know. And so I made a point, we talked a little bit, and then I said we loved each other, and I went back on my road. And my sister was killed in a car accident the next day at about 5 in the afternoon. And I thought, that was God speaking to me about changing the way that I'm living my life. And when I think about someone that I need to let them know that I'm thinking about them.
Yeah.
And so, a few times I've done that, since then, and the person's like, what the heck are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
You write about it, 12:30 at night, I send a message, hey, have a good night, I was just thinking about you, what are you doing? But other times, people have been like, hey, I'm glad you, I reconnected 2 days ago with a friend from high school I haven't spoken to in 45 years.
Yeah.
And we messaged back and forth for about 2 hours. So I've done that as far as people that have been in my life that have been away. And then new people in my life. I try to do more of this than this. I try to, we all listen to respond instead of listening to learn. And I try to take a step back and do that. And then even being president of the football club. We're all doing Zoom now, Zoom meetings. So, I'm over there on my computer, and, I got all the little boxes with the faces in them, and all the guys from around the country that I'm doing the meeting with. And I try to do a lot of this. And I try to understand instead of trying to respond right away. Because even in the conversation, think of it when you're at the dinner table or something, you'll hear something, and then you got something coming up, and you want to get it out there. Right.
Mhm.
And I just try to really reel that back and continue listening. And there'll be a point when if I still need to respond, I will, but a lot of times, if you step back and keep listening, there's no need to. So,
They say, and I'm trying to get better at that myself because, and it's amazing you talk about God sending messages. I recently have been saying the notion of you don't listen to respond, you listen to hear. And the whole jump and say something, they say in any situation, but especially in an argument, that if somebody seems like they're done and you're disagreeing, if you stop and before you respond, you take a deep breath, that it actually calms you down. And if you take a deep breath to pause within when they're done and when you start, instead of it being like a freeway conversation, it makes the person actually feel like you're digesting what they said and you're giving them time to finish.
yeah.
And in the world we live in today with social media and everybody thinking they're a reporter and everybody having an opinion of everyone, we live in a world where essentially we're on the freeway and everything's trying to get our attention and people are not listening. And then you add in that someone's on their phone and they're looking through timelines and stuff like that. And I've been in conversations where I say to people, if I see them look down at their phone and they're on it, I go, I'll wait until you're done.
Yeah.
And they get very mad. They get upset. Well, I'm listening and whatever. I said, no, I was taught to look you in the eye and to give you my attention. I will keep my eye contact with you because that's a sign of respect.
Right.
So when you are done doing your other stuff, I'll finish. So what I've gotten in the habit of doing is if someone's on their phone and they're talking to me, I'll stop mid-sentence. And I'll pick up when they're done because we live in a world where it's easy to get absorbed. And I think that what we're talking about here today is the lost art of two friends sitting in front of a fireplace talking without any external stimuli.
Yeah.
It's just us, you, me, and God.
Yeah.
And I think that at the end of your life, these conversations are the ones that are going to mean something more than how many likes did I get on my Facebook post.
Yep, and the thing you're talking about with the world today, and it's something I fell into when I first became president of the club, was there's always someone that's not happy with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I got great advice from a friend that's been very successful in life, and I really admire, and he said, Jim, stay out of the weeds. He goes, when someone says something to you or sends you something, you don't have to respond. Because don't always respond. Like people say they're trying to goad you in or they're doing something to upset you. He goes, you don't have to respond. He goes, stay out of the weeds. Keep your head above, stay above it all. It's like, good point. Good thing to do. Stay above it. Don't. And so what I did, it was, well, now it's over a year ago, I stopped watching national news because I realized that it's not news. It's just a way, if they can keep everybody worked up and keep everybody after each other, then they've got an audience and they've got people watching. And that's all it is, because there's been weather every day, and every day I turned it on, it was 80 million people are going to be affected by this. The sky's falling. And I just said, we were talking before we started doing this. When I'm cooking dinner, I have music on, and I am happy. And that's usually when the news is going on, and I'm not part of it. I just leave it alone.
Music seems to be the thing, for people that have a faith, they say that angels speak to humans through song. They say that that's how heavenly bodies speak to human beings, through music. And music has always been a part of my life. My grandfather, on my mom's side, my Pop Cavino, he sang, may rest in peace. My mom sings. I've sang since I was 3 years old. I feel, when I sing, I feel close to myself. I feel it's hard for me to be depressed, angry, or stressed if I'm singing. And so you talk about turning music on when you cook. Mm-hmm. As crazy as this world has gotten, one of the constants to me is that music, no matter what it be about, it has the capability to draw out your emotions, kind of give you therapy, and release bad energy, bring in good energy. Why do you think God created music, and why is it so successful no matter how crazy the world gets?
It's great. It's easy to see what it does when you can play something and calm a pet in your home. I've seen people do it with livestock animals. Farmers have done it forever. Mm-hmm. And the farm and they're milking. You go into, and I grew up between farms, they always have it on because the cows relax. And the thing about music with me is before I was injured, I had no music ability. And afterward, I only have one vocal cord now. And the explosion happened, I lost one. That's why my voice is so bad. And I apologize for it.
It's a lot better than you give yourself credit for.
But I mean, I can't get a note out. If I try to put any volume into it, my voice crackles and splits. So I can't sing, I can't play anything, but I listen to music every day. And I have these wonderful Bose headphones, and all different types. And I mean, really from classical to jazz and then finding out somebody, and then really getting into who they are and finding out if it's been good or there's tragedy. I went this past summer on Amy Winehouse. I just found one of her songs, and I was like, wow, this is great. And then I really started listening. Yeah. And then I wanted to find out about her. And then I found out about her life, and it's horrible. She died at 27 years old. This fantastic talent, but then having the talent and what came with that, she couldn't handle. I think if she would have been happy to have her own life, it would have been at 8 o'clock at night going down to the club and singing to a few tables full of people and not being a megastar. Yeah. And it was so sad to read about it. Such a wonderful voice and so much talent, and so I kind of started learning about people that have extraordinary talent, and how we look at that, right, as a blessing. And if you're a parent and you have a child that does good in school or is a good in sports, a player or something, and you want them to keep going and excel to be the greatest they can be. And sometimes it's too much for people to handle. How many people have you seen in entertainment that you think, oh my gosh, what a fantastic life, they make millions of dollars in movies, or they have musical ability or whatever, and then you see them just end their life because they can't get to a point where they're able to appreciate anything because of this drive they have or they don't want to have to have this great talent or even great knowledge. I've known people that have extraordinary capacity mentally, and you know, their daily life, they just can't get through it, you know, because I don't know, they overthink everything, or they trying to figure everything out, where sometimes I feel like I'm very simple-minded, because I'm just kind of taking stuff in and, you know, smiling, and I'm not trying to break everything down and figure it out. You know, it's just more of a, I don't know, I just really just kind of, really just enjoy being here and being a part of everything. And I don't know what else to say about that.
Well, I think what's incredible in that you touched on was that, you know, when people have talent, drive, things that we want to accomplish, that it's important to see the truth. And, you know, I mean, there's been people throughout history, recent history, Anthony Bourdain, Amy Winehouse, Kate Spade, people that had incredible wealth, known all over the world, notoriety, power, prestige, money, and they ended their lives. And I think that it's unfortunate that people have to see a literal example, but if you're not happy from the inside out, the outside in happiness will never fulfill that. And if you don't have it inside of you, if you don't have it in your core, if you don't love yourself, there's no amount of love that you can bring in. And there's been singers that have sang about the fact of being in a room of 1 million people and they're all looking at me and screaming to me and wanting me. It was the loneliest place I was. Because people think, well, the world loves this singer, and, you know, 70,000 people show up to watch you sing on stage. But when you get on your tour bus, you're by yourself. When you go to bed that night, you're by yourself. Some of them, not all, but you're by yourself. And there's that reality of the world thinks, oh my gosh, you have the life. But in actuality, some of the poorest people, or some of the people that, you know, whatever it may be, if you, my thing to me was, if I have friends that love me and I love them, and we have each other's back, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, they're not with me because I'm successful, they're not with me because of money, they're not talking to me because we live down the road, if I moved away, we'd still be friends. If I have real friends in a real family, and I can come home and I have God, and I have my mom and my dad and my family and friends, to me, there's that positivity and that goodness, and that's all that matters to me, was coming home and someday, because people think when you're, and I apologize for, you know, extending this whole thing, but the reality to me is, as a broadcaster, as somebody who owns my own company, there's a lot of dreams I have. And when you are a single man in society and you meet people and they say, well, what do you want? I say, you know, I really don't have an end cap. I would like to do music. I would like to work on movies. I would like to act more. I would like to do, you know, potential stand-up comedy. I love Wake Up Call, but I'm also working on Superpowered Pop and Dan on Disney, and there's always things on my mind. And they say, well, where does somebody fit in? But the people that really, truly know me know that if I get to come home, like you do, someday, to a woman who loves me and my children, no matter what I go after in my life, and no matter how many days daddy's out or whatever's out, the one thing I wanted more than anything in my life is exactly what you have. To come home and have the love of your kids and the love of your wife. That to me, as much as, and that's what people should know, I'm not looking for wealth and notoriety. I want to live all my dreams and do all that stuff because I love chasing them, but I will always, always, always want something to come home to. And I think to me that is the value of life, is having people you love, that love you back, and animals too. And I don't know. I think to me that's the wealth of life, is having good people love you back.
Oh, I totally agree. And what you were saying about, thinking that when you get to a certain point, and that's nirvana, that you'll be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really close with John and Laura Lally, who gave a huge, donation to the football program at the university last year. And we're really good friends. And obviously, they have hundreds of millions of dollars, and you think, well, you're kicking butt. That's where to be. And the reason that John and I are so close is that we know that if he and I switch lives, not in every phase, but financially, I'm still like this.
Mm-hmm.
So, you drive a little better car, a little better food, but that's not the answer in life. And if you live your life thinking that when you get to a certain amount that you have set in your head, then that's where you will be happy, it's not what makes you happy. And so I've talked to him, I said, if you could pick something, I said, John, what would be where you feel the most relaxed, the greatest? He said, if I'm up on a mountain with a pair of binoculars, by myself, out hunting, looking, it's quiet, I'm out there, I want to see the sunrise and the sunset, and just taking that in. He goes, that to me is the place I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, going to a movie premiere or riding in limousines or flying in a private jet or anything. It's just taking in the day, taking in what's around. And they're both like that.
Yeah.
Laura has her horse and goes over to the stable and rides, and very simple life. Not that. And I'm glad that, now I'm just talking, my whole life, all I ever wanted was this.
Yeah.
Was for family. It would have been nice to do other things, but at my core, I just wanted that, and not any grandeur or anything, just very simple. Just like you said, a place to come back home to, somebody to care about me. And that was pretty much it. And, I mean, when you're 14 years old and you're on that frozen pond and you got a puck, and in my day, Bobby Orr, was, he changed the way the sports played. And watching a game on TV and then going out and trying to do the same things, and you think about, gosh, I want to be there someday. I mean, that's, it's normal,
Yeah.
Or, wanting to be, maybe play in the NFL someday, I mean, that's normal. But to put that as, you can get there and you can do that, do you think that is what happiness is? It's not. I bet if you talk to Tom Brady, probably the greatest quarterback that ever played, if you asked him what are your core really? The camera's off, it's just you and I having a beer. What he would say, being home with family.
Yeah.
It's a.
And that's because that to me is, I love going after dreams, and I love chasing, the talent and all of that, and doing what we can. But at the end of the day, I think the greatest thing is that it's to be able to come home. Anytime something good happens when I'm going after things that I want in my career, my dreams and stuff, I call my close friends, I call my mom, I call my dad. that's the beauty of it to me, because it's not fun to just kind of hoard up a big pile of stuff and playing it by yourself.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's great to share it and to have it, and I do believe you could have it all. I believe you could chase your dreams and live your dreams and come home and have that. So before we come to a close of this special here in your home, speaking here with Jim DaRin, to look at something that you and I talked about off the air, and I have to ask you, because we share a love and a passion for something incredible, where you and I shut our brains off, and we don't think, and we just kind of do artwork, so to speak, and that's cooking.
Yeah.
So bring me into your passion for cooking, your love for it. You've shown me around your kitchen. It's incredible. It's beautiful. I was, jaw dropped by the fact that you have little things that appear out of nowhere, like Back to the Future. But you have this, and maybe through you I'll finally get my hoverboard. But through you, this cooking, it's therapeutic, it's fun, it's exciting, and you and I both love it. So I kind of just want to open the doorway to cooking and what it does for you.
Well, I like to eat, but I like being able to do it. That's something that I can do. My life is so limited, physically. There's so many things I can't do, that when there's something that I can, and I can be creative with it and do it, it's really enjoyable. In my family, that I'm able to do that for them, because it worked out that Luann, my wife, is very physically active. She's a physical therapist, but she's always really been physically active. And then my girls, growing up, it was a great fear for me that I couldn't do the things that dads do. I couldn't take them skiing down the hill or mountain climbing or all these physical things, but Luann was able to do that with them. And so for them to be here with me and, for their growing up years and all that, to be able to do that and have it be, if you do it and you're open with it and they're there in the kitchen with you, there's a lot of interacting and joy. And the way that, you saw that I have it set up, is I'm on one side of the island, there's two stools on the other, and for the girls to have a glass of wine, and we laugh and joke and talk when they're home. It's really enjoyable to me, to be able to do that with them. And I just, that's it for me, really. Just being able, it's something I'm able to do, and I can be creative with it. I can't paint. Like I said, I can't, there's so many things I can't do that when I find something that I can't.
That coming from Jim DaRin here this morning. Once again, that coming from Jim DaRin in our special, and we're going to pause it there and move into part 2 tomorrow. So, talking about cooking, like he said, there's so many things that I can't do. I can't paint, and he was talking about singing, and he's like, and this, is something I can do. I can cook, and his kitchen is remarkable. It is, if you love to cook, this kitchen is like, it's like the kitchen to want to be in. And it's just really, really, really cool to see it and to experience it. And, and to know that there's so many things that Jim obviously said. And I am moved by them all. I think a lot of people are. The art, and off the air, we went to the kitchen when I had gone to see him before, and we walked through it, and it's beautiful, and it's wood, and it's marble, and there's a stove that's right there on the wall. You can pull down, put stuff in, and whatnot. And obviously, it's handicapped accessible and wheelchair accessible. So he comes up to it and he goes, "Hit that button," And that's what I was talking about at this like spaceship and whatnot is I hit this button and it's like and this other piece of the kitchen just shows up. And it's and I mean obviously it's a fan to help pull the stuff out and whatnot. But it was so, I mean, this thing opens up and it just does this, and to see Jim talk about cooking, it's so incredible because he loves it and it's an art to him. And he said, I'm done when I'm done. And I hope Erin doesn't mind me saying this, but him and I were talking and she was involved in the conversation. And when we were talking about everything, we were speaking about cooking, and he told me, I can't stand when someone's in the kitchen and they're saying, when's it going to be done? 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 And, he's like, it's done when it's done. You know what I mean? And so, Erin didn't know that we had this conversation, and she came in the room and he said, I was making food one day and she was really hungry. And I was like, just heat up the chili. And so she was heating up the chili, and he's like, you got to put it in a pan. It had ice on it and stuff. And he said, and I see her breaking it off in chunks, eating it with like the ice still on it. And he's like, you got to get out of the kitchen. And so, but the whole art of it's done when I've never had iced chili. I've had iced chai. I've done that. But the amazing thing about Jim is, this artwork in the kitchen, it's so him. And, and I mean this so much so, when you see Jim, yes, you initially open the door and he's there in his wheelchair. But when you're in the kitchen with him, when you're sitting there on the couch and you're talking to him, you don't see any of that anymore. He has this way of just making you feel comfortable and making you feel at home. He's very warm. He's very open. He's very hospitable. He's so very much, he just likes to sit and talk. And you could talk about a game. You could talk about something that happened in his life. You could talk about what he's making for dinner. But what I'm getting at is you can't chain down somebody's spirit. And Gandhi said that, and I'm probably paraphrasing because I never met Gandhi, obviously. But but he said, you can chain down my body. He said this when they threw him in jail. You can chain down my body, but you cannot chain down my spirit. And I think that with Jim, like, this is Jim. And I think what you're going to hear from Jim Jerome and Tom DaRin is, the personality that I see in Jim DaRin is not because of the accident or as a result of or a consequence of, but that this is him. And in the fact that he could go through everything that he's gone through, in personal relationships, in the accident, in everything, in football, because football, I mean, in and of itself is a very, very barbaric sport, and it's tough. Guys that play football said, hey, if the injury report was real, we'd all be on it because we all have bruises and bumps and everything from game to game. So to hear about the things that Jim has been through, and then to see him today, and people that know him, have known him forever, tell me, Dan, this is Jim DaRin. This is who he was, and this is who he is. And the fact that his personality lasted beyond all of this should give everybody hope that whatever you're going through, however how difficult it is, that being yourself is never on the chopping block. Not being who you are, it's unacceptable to give that up. And he didn't. I remember him telling me that he was laying in the hospital bed and he turned and he looked outside and he saw the sun shining. And he said, if I get another chance to be out there, I'm not going to waste it. And how many times have we gone outside and we're rushing and we're going to the car and we're complaining because we got to clean the snow off here in central and upstate New York, and we're grabbing the coffee and we got this and we got the kids and we got the dog, or it's just us, we got a ton of stuff in our hands, we're going to work, and we don't take a moment to look up at the sky and see that as cold as it is, it's clear blue. Or that cloud looks like Mickey Mouse. Or that, the dog that we're putting in the car is a dog that we never knew we'd have, and it's been the greatest friend ever, you know? Or our kids, rambunctious and crazy, that, you know, they're healthy, and that they get to go to school today, and they get to learn, and the value of that, and how excited they are. They say, Mommy, Daddy, I'm so happy I can go to school today. I'm happy to see my teacher. And how that warms the heart, right? And that teacher that's prepping in school, how that warms their heart, that the students are happy to see them. Maybe they value them a little bit more because of everything with this pandemic. You know? Or the fact that, you know, I always had to drive my grandmother's home. You know, from holidays and things we did at the house, they didn't like to drive at night. And at 16, 17, 18 years old, sometimes I didn't want to. Sometimes I wanted to sit on my butt and watch television. I was tired, you know, and I just wanted to watch TV. But I look back on those moments and say, would I have given up any one of those car rides? No, I would have wanted more. So Jim is such a teacher of how important it is to remember that when you get to wake up in the morning and the sun hits your face, that's a good thing. When you're in a home that you can afford, that's a good thing. Or an apartment. When you have a roof over your head and you have clothes to put on. When you have people to call and a job to go to and money to put in the bank, that's a good thing. And if you didn't have any of that, you'd still have God. You'd still have your faith. You'd still have people that genuinely love you. You know, and I have had the honor of meeting Aaron. I have not had the honor of meeting Shannon or Luann yet, and I look forward to that. But Luann, I can tell you here, if you're listening and if you're watching, you've been a savior in his life. And I was talking to him last night, and you know, talking to Jim last night, just what he said about, you know, I don't know where I would be without Luann. And the fact that you would bring him donuts, I think he said that you would bring him donuts and go way out of your way just to bring him over to him, and that his housekeeper would say, "You idiot! Like, she likes you. What are you doing?" You know, and he said, you know, the fact that she could love me like this, and that really made me want to cry, because Jim, like what? You're a good man, you know, and any good woman or, you know, good man out there should be looking for a good partner, somebody that they can lean on, somebody that they can trust, somebody that'll make them laugh, you know. In your case, a man that knows how to cook. That's a good thing, you know. And I think you and Luann both hit the jackpot. I don't know her yet, but the way you speak about her is incredible. And I know you well enough to know that Luann got somebody really, really incredible and really awesome. And it means the world to me how gracious, you know, you've been, Jim, with your time. You've been very gracious with your time. And that to me goes such a long way into seeing, you know, really who a person is and what they're all about when they give so much of their time. You know, so I think that what we learn and will continue to learn through the special with Jim, and obviously with Jim Jerome coming up today to speak about Jim, and then, you know, tomorrow the opportunity to hear from Jim's brother Tom, you know, I think this common thread of just realizing how important it is to spend your time wisely, take chances, take risks, go after what you want in life, don't be afraid to reach out and hope that you grab from something. Jim's brother Tom, you know, I think this if common thread of just realizing how important it is. I know when I really care about something, spend your time wisely behind my eyes, take chances, I've had him here for about 10 minutes. Go after what you want in life. Don't be afraid to reach out and, you know, I told Jim I'm getting used to bringing him coffee, you know, and if you don't try again for Carl Sanfilippo, you know, I know when I really care about something because I get tears behind my eyes, and I've had him here for about 10 minutes. And we were doing a show together at Cafe. You know, I told Jim I'm getting used to bringing coffee I get for Jim. And
And if not for Carl Sanfilippo,
he said some stuff about Jim, and it's incredible the stuff he does with the
or
football
maybe
club
not
and trying to bring the alumni together and this and that. And then he said to me off the air, "Would you ever talk
together
to
at
him?"
Cafe Kubal? Ironically,
And this was a while back, some months ago. He said, "Would you ever talk to him?" And I said, "Yeah, Carl. Like, yes, the answer is always yes,
he
especially
said some
coming
stuff about
from somebody
Jim,
that I trust.
It's incredible the stuff he does with the football club and trying to bring the alumni together.
Carl led me to Jim,
and then he said to me off the
Jim
air, "Would you ever talk
to this moment?" And this moment has led me to
this
a
was
lot
a while
of
back, some months ago. He said, "Would you ever talk to him?"
awesome stuff and awesome memories that have
Carl,
happened up on that hill.
Yes, the answer is always yes, especially coming from somebody that I trust and I appreciate. And
to speak to somebody that's so,
Carl led me to Jim, and Jim led me to this moment, and this moment has led me to a lot of
really
awesome stuff and awesome memories that have happened up on that hill.
I think that's the best part of you, Jim.
It's so cool.
I mean, if I could wave a wand
to somebody
and give you your legs back and have you up and walking and doing all this, absolutely.
Awesome.
If I could give you an opportunity in the NFL, if I could have you finish out your Syracuse
career,
not
your typical guy.
Then I would do that.
And I think that.
But now I'm more concerned about you getting the car that you want.
And having
if
I could wave a wand
and affordable
and give you your legs back,
getting you in that
walking and doing all this. Absolutely.
I'm excited about the fact
I could give you an opportunity in the NFL if I could have you finish out your Syracuse career
and what that looks like.
Then I would do that.
I'm more concerned about you getting the car that you
can
do and what
having it
now is, and you can always
and
be
affordable.
a friend.
And getting
you can always be a friend. And folks, you
I'm
find out who your
excited
real
about
friends
the
are
fact
when
of the
tragedy
renovations
strikes.
you did to your house and how you open everything up and what that looks like.
When you don't lose who you are. That's something that my buddy Evan
I'm more concerned about what we can do and what the here and now is. And you can always be
it's
a
like
friend.
When I
you can always
pick
be
up the phone and
folks,
you're not Dan.
you find out who your real friends are when tragedy
you're
strikes.
not you because of something that happened and it hurts you and it bothers you. He's
when
like,
you
that's
don't
not
lose
good enough.
who you are. That's something that my buddy Evan always
said.
You got to
be you. I picked up the phone to talk to my best friend. I didn't pick up the phone to talk to
like
some shell of it.
Pick up the phone and you're not Dan.
And that might sound mean, but it's not.
You're not you because of something that happened and it hurts you and it
you're
bothers
surrounded by people that compel you to be
He's like, that's
the
not
best
good
version of yourself. And
you have
Jim,
you got to be you. I picked up the phone to talk to my best friend.
I love making him laugh. And I love sitting there with him just talking.
And that might sound mean,
and
but
I told him we're going to have a cook-off. And I asked Aaron, I was like, give me something that challenges him or that he's not good at, so that I got a fighting chance at this thing. And she said he's good at everything. So I guess that
he's just
that puts me in a special place. But I'm ready for it.
I love sitting there with him. Just
I'll be ready for it, Jim.
And I told him we're going to have a cook-off.
But
and I asked Aaron, I was like, give me something that challenges him or that he's not good at, so that I got a fighting chance
Jim
at this
brings
thing.
to the world and what he brought to the airwaves today, and what
I guess that
to the airwaves here.
That puts me in a special place, but I'm ready for it.
He is somebody
who
is
I'll be ready for it, Jim. And I'm excited about it.
Constant example that this world can try to take as much as it possibly
Jim
can,
brings to the world and what he brought to the airwaves today, and what he'll continue to bring to the airwaves. If you don't let it, it can't take your soul. Is that he is somebody
he's such a bright person, and I don't see him complaining. I mean, when I was there, he spilled coffee
that this world can try to take as much.
And
as
I ran into the kitchen to get him some paper towel or whatever it may be.
If you don't let it, it can't take your soul. And
I didn't hear him swear. I didn't hear him yell. I didn't see him bang his fist on the table.
And I don't
gave
see
him
him
paper
complain.
towel.
When I was there,
he wiped it up, and he kept talking
on his phone. And I ran into the kitchen to get him some paper towel.
And I'm sure
or
everybody
whatever
has
it may
the rough
be.
moments. I'm sure Luann and Shannon and Aaron can tell me they've
I didn't hear
had
him
theirs.
swear.
He's had
I didn't
his.
hear him
Everybody
yell.
has theirs.
I didn't see him bang his fist on
But
the table. I
it's
gave him
how
the paper
we
towel. I
bounce
said
back.
thank you. He wiped it up.
It's how we get back up
talking.
again.
And
it's how we respond.
And I'm sure everybody has.
I know
rough
that
moments.
this is a quote that
I'm
I've
sure
read you
Luann
1,000
and Shannon
times
and Aaron
on
can
this
tell
show.
me they've had theirs.
I understand
he's had his.
that.
Everybody has,
but I can't help myself. And it's
but
the Rocky Balboa.
It's how we bounce
from
back.
the movie where he's
it's
talking
how we
to
get back
his
up
son.
again.
And it makes me think of Jim.
And
because I don't think that you have to have.
I know that
your
this
legs
is a quote
working or
that I've
not
read you
to
1,000
have this be
times
true.
on this show.
There's people in hospital beds with corona, with cancer, with
and it's the Rocky
AIDS,
Balboa
with HIV.
Quote
there's people
from
that
the
have lost
movie
loved ones. There's
where he's talking to
people
his
that
son.
are fighting wars.
And it makes me
people
think
that
of
are
Jim,
fighting for freedom. There's people that
because
feel
I don't
trapped
think
in
that you have
their
to
homes.
have and your legs working or not.
In domestic violence, there's people that have lost children.
There's people in
people that have the common cold,
with
people
cancer,
that lost their jobs,
AIDS, with
people
HIV,
that are far away from the people they love, and with
loved
Corona haven't been able to see them.
People that are fighting
wars. There's a lot
wars,
of things weighing on people's minds and hearts, and this quote always rings true to
their
me.
homes.
Let me tell you something you already know.
In domestic violence,
the world ain't all sunshine and rainbows.
Children.
It's a very mean and nasty
people that have
place.
the common cold.
And I don't care how tough you are. It will
people that are far away from the people they love, and with Corona haven't been able to see
if you let it.
There's a lot of things weighing on people's
nobody
minds
is going to hit
and this
as hard as
always
life.
rings true to me.
But it ain't about
Let me tell you
how
something
hard
you already
hit.
know.
It's
the world
about
ain't
how
all
hard
sunshine
you
and rainbows.
get hit.
It's a very mean and nasty
forward.
place.
How much you
and
can
I don't care
take
how tough you are.
And keep moving
it will
forward.
beat you to your knees.
That's how
and
winning
keep
is
you
done.
there permanently.
Now, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth.
You, me, or nobody is going to hit as hard as life.
And not pointing fingers
but
saying
it ain't
you ain't
about
where you want to
how
be because of
hard
him or her or anybody.
It's about how hard you
Cowards
can
do
get
that,
hit
and that ain't you.
and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep
Jim,
moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Are one
now, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth.
And
but you got to be
the
willing
fact
to
that we're
take the
building a
hits.
friendship means
and
more
not
to me
pointing
than
fingers
anything I could
saying
ever
you
do
ain't
on
where
this
you
show.
want to be because of him or
I look
her
forward to
or
bringing you
anybody.
coffee.
Cowards do
because
that.
I
and
alone,
that
I
ain't
think,
you.
I'm going to keep Cafe
You're better
Kubal
than
open in Manlius. So,
Jim,
but
you
thank
are
you
one
for letting
special
me do
human
this.
being.
And there is so much more to
And
come.
the fact that
We'll
we're
take a step
building a
aside for a
friendship
fast
means
break.
more to me than anything
When
I
we
could ever
come
do on
back,
the show.
a good friend and
I look forward
teammate
to bringing you coffee.
of Jim DaRin, Jim
because
Jerome,
I alone, I think,
will
am
be
gonna
joining the
keep
show
Cafe
next
Kubal open
to give
in
his
Manlius.
thoughts
so
on the man who
thank
is
you for letting me
spotlighted
do
today,
this. And
a
there's
man
so much
who,
more.
since I met him, has really been something awesome. Jim DaRin. Jim Jerome joins us right after this fast break. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand butter chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, as well as on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and Facebook Live on facebook.com/livenowdt. So plenty of places to listen, plenty of places to watch, and however you're connecting with the show, I thank you so much for that. There was no better way to start off this beautiful month of February here in the great year 2021 than to do it with Mr. Jim DaRin. And not only with Jim, but with people that can speak on him and you know, his life and the person that he's always been. And so I was sitting with him and you know, when we were talking about airing this special and putting it into 2 parts, you know, I said to him, I said, you know, Jim, I feel like Jim Jerome because you know, he's talked about him so much to me. I was like, I feel like, you know, I want to call Jim and I want to have Jim be a part of this. And then I said, you know, who else should I get in touch with? And he said, you know, I'd love for you to call my brother Tom.
I feel like Jim Jerome,
we have a very special relationship.
You know, he's talked about him
yeah,
so
no
much.
problem.
I feel like
get it done.
You know,
but
I
Jim
want to call
Jerome
Jim
was somebody that it was a
no-brainer. I want to have
Jim be a part of this.
That he wanted Jim to be a part,
you know,
of
who
the
else
show.
Should I get in touch with? A teammate of his
and
at
he said, you know,
Jim
I'd love
was
for
a
you to
senior
call my brother
when
Tom.
Jim Jerome was a senior when Jimmy DaRin was a freshman.
Yeah, no problem.
And they had the opportunity to meet each other and be around each other.
That it was a
They've been friends ever since. And
that he wanted Jim to be a part
serves
of
me
the
correctly,
show.
they talk almost every day.
Jim was
they
a senior,
talk throughout the week and whatnot.
Jim
But
Jerome was a
been
senior when
that
Jimmy
means a lot
DaRin was
to
a
Jim
freshman.
DaRin. So with that
and
being
they had the
stated,
opportunity to meet
part
each
one
other
of the
and be around
special,
each other. They've been friends ever since.
Jim DaRin is
if my
Jim
memory
Jerome.
serves
Jim,
me correctly, they talk
Good morning,
almost
sir.
every day.
Nice
I know
job
they
you do, and
talk
thank
throughout
you
the week
for,
and whatnot,
telling the
but
greatest
it's
story
been
never
something
told,
that
as I
means a
call it,
lot to
about
Jim DaRin.
great
So with
kid
that
and
being
teammate.
stated, in part one
I
of the
appreciate
special,
those words,
to
and
have
that's very
with
kind of
Jim
you.
DaRin
But
is
I
Jim
put it
Jerome.
all on
Jim, how you
Jim.
doing
I mean,
today?
he's the one that
Good
makes
morning,
this
sir.
possible,
What a nice
and
job
he's
you
the
do,
one
and
that
thank you for,
you know
telling the
really
greatest
has
story
spoken
never
to my
told, as I
soul and
call it, about
spoken
a
to me
great
and really
kid
gotten
and
to me.
teammate.
And so,
I
to
appreciate
look
those
back
words,
on
and
your
that's
days
very kind of
with
you,
Mr.
but
DaRin
I
here.
put it all
Bring
on
me
Jim.
into when you
He's the
first
one
met
that
him, if you remember
makes
that
this
moment.
possible, and he's the one that,
Oh, that son
you know,
of a gun.
really
He messed us
has
up.
spoken
We were
to my soul
upperclassmen,
and spoken
as
to
you
me
said,
and really
and,
gotten
the
to me.
freshmen were supposed to
And
suffer a
so,
little bit.
you know,
They had
to
to
look
pay their
back
dues,
on
and we
your
had to test
days
them and
with
make
Mr.
sure they
DaRin
were,
here, bring me
wanted
into
to
when
really
you
play
first
with
met
us,
him,
and
if
we're
you
gonna
remember
pay their
that
dues.
moment.
But Jimmy was that son of a gun. He messed us up. We were the other freshmen. He was ready to play. Said, and the freshmen were supposed to suffer a little bit. And we didn't pay their dues, and we had to test them and make sure they were, wanted to really play with us, and we're going to pay their dues.
So
but,
why did he get a pass?
Jimmy
Was it just because he was that
above
good,
and
or what
beyond
was
all
it?
the other freshmen? He was ready to play. He could step right in. Gave him a pass. And these other kids, we didn't pick on him as much. From that little high school pond to the big old college lake. And
so why did he get a pass? Was it just because he was that good, or what
the other
was it?
freshmen started picking on him? Yeah, so wait a minute. When you're step right in, you know, and these other kids, it's a big transition from that little high school.
So for that, I mean, like you said, seniors are supposed to kind of, let the freshmen have it, and he came in and he was just getting after it right away. For you to see him and what he was able to do, what was he like on the field? How would you describe
for that, I
him?
mean, like you said, seniors are supposed to kind of, let the freshmen have it, and he came in and he was just getting after it right away. For you to see him and what he was able to do, what was he like on the field? How would you describe him? That coming here from Jim Jerome, a friend and teammate of Jim DaRin, as we have our part one of our Spotlight special with Jim DaRin here to start off February, and Jim also a Syracuse Orange football alum himself, Mr. Jerome. So, Jim, for you to build this relationship with Jimmy, bring me into when you found out Spotlight the action had happened. Jim DaRin here to start off February, and Jim also a Syracuse Orange football alum himself, Mr. Jerome. So, Jim, for you to build this relationship with Jimmy, bring me into when you found out that the accident had happened. Bring me into that moment.
And I got the word. I'm a passionate guy. I rushed up to the hospital, and I was just blown away. I mean, I saw my great old teammate there with bolts in his head. I was trying to hook up with an NFL team, and I got the word. It was tough, and I rushed up to the hospital, and I was just blown away. I mean, I saw my great old teammate there with 22, 23-year-old kid. I'd never blood running or seen anything like that. you're in shock. Your mouth's wide open. It's like,
okay,
this can't happen. This was a great kid, an athlete, a superior athlete. 23-year-old kid. I didn't know these types of torture seen anything like that. And you're in shock. Your mouth's wide open. It's like there. I don't know how long. This can't happen. It was like I stood still. I went blank. That was in some other dimension. A superior athlete. And now look at him. I didn't even know these type of torture racks existed.
And Jim, when you saw that, I mean, obviously, I can imagine what went through your head that, this is my friend and this is it. I'm not going to see him again. When he pulled through this, when Jim DaRin made it through somehow, some way, by the grace of God.
Jim, when
bring me into that,
obviously, I can imagine what went through your head.
When he got through it,
when he found a way to, I'm not going to see him again.
When he pulled through this, when Jim DaRin made it through somehow, some way, by the grace of God,
I'm reminded of the time.
Bring me into that. When you found when he got through it, when he found a way to.
And we said we got to get together, and he said, "Well, I'm right outside your door." I think we tried to keep things as normal as could be. There was no cell phone or anything, but he had one of the early into the driveway, and the phone rang. We picked it up, and it was so we went out to hear from him. We were able to wheel him into the house. Thank God. And we said we got to get together, and he said, "Well, I'm right outside your door." Chat, and we're trying to figure out what this was going to be like for him going forward. But he had one of the early out of him, and we still. So we went out, go places. We were able to wheel him into the house. Thank God the doors were wide enough and everything, and we had our first chat, and we're trying to...
So, he's there, and he's got, like you said, one of the first car phones, and which leads me to believe that this Back to the Future thing that I feel he has... Like, I feel like he gets all the toys before any of us do.
Like you said,
and I do believe that. I told him I'm expecting to get my hoverboard somehow through him someday.
He's there,
but
and he's got, like you said,
the reality that, he's got this phone,
which leads me to believe
and he said, we got to get together, and then he tells you he's in the driveway.
I feel he has.
What type of emotions
I feel like he gets all the toys before any of us do.
We should hang out. And you're like, yeah, we should.
I do believe that.
I'm here. You know what I mean? Like, what went through you that day when he was right there?
But...
The reality that, he's got this phone and he calls you up and he said, we got to get together, and then he tells you he's in the driveway. What type of emotions and thoughts go through you when he's like, we should hang out? And you're like, yeah, we should. And he's like, I'm here. You know what I mean? Like, what went through you that day when he was right there?
I'm thinking, well, you're going to have to coach me up on this.
Speaking here of Jim Jerome, friend and teammate of Jim DaRin, in this special on Jim DaRin today on Wake Up Call inside of the Cafe Cubal Studios. For you, Jim, like you said, he didn't really sweat a lot. I was talking prior to bringing you here on the air this morning about how...
and speaking here of Jim Jerome, friend and teammate of Jim DaRin, in this special on Jim DaRin today on Wake Up Call.
The guy I'm sitting here today, the spirit, the positivity,
for you, Jim,
the deep thought, the emotion.
Like you said, he didn't really sweat a lot.
This is who he's always been.
Bringing you here on the air this morning.
How true is that to you?
About how
it is the whole notion of kind of the Gandhi aspect. You can chain down my body, but you can't chain down my spirit.
The guy I'm sitting here today,
has he always been Jim DaRin? Like, is what I'm seeing, the emotion, what you saw when it comes to his personality and the way that he kind of tackles life.
How true is that to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
It is the whole notion of kind of the Gandhi aspect of you can chain down my body, but you can't chain down my spirit. Has he always been Jim DaRin? Like, is what I'm seeing what you saw when it comes to his personality and the way that he kind of tackles life, so to speak?
Try to figure out what's absolutely. I don't know if I can put it any better than the rest of America. There's a good reason that he is the longest living person in America with this type of horrific injury, and the doctors.
And going through all this and having this happen, he said that you guys of the senior class really didn't treat him any different. You included him when he came back on campus. You made him feel welcome again. Bring me into that and how you did that and what you think about the fact that you really felt that you guys helped to bring some normalcy or continuity to his life.
I didn't treat him any different.
You included him when he came back on campus. You made him feel welcome again. Bring me into that and how you did that and what you think about the fact that he really felt that you guys helped to bring some normalcy or continuity to his life.
But Jimmy was the one never before, and I'm sure you read the newspaper article and all that. He kind of resisted. He wanted to do it on his own and everything, and he did. For handicapped folks when this happened, and thank God it's changed. You don't dare want to help him get in and out of his car. We tried to help him as much as we could at every turn. But Jimmy was the one.
He was talking to me about that, about how he has one that's already there in the garage now, so he doesn't have to go back and forth and whatnot. And but the way that he describes this, and being at his house. I mean, when I was just at his house, he said to me, he was like, I got to go out to the store about that, and he just wheels out to the garage, and that was it. It was like, I got to go. I got to go get stuff ready for dinner. I mean, this man just keeps on keeping on. The way that he describes, you wouldn't know. Like once you get to know him, and being at his house, when I was just at his house, it's just what he does. He was like, I got to go get something. He's going to go get it. Wheels out to the garage, and that was it. Bring himself there. I got to go. I got to kind of feel like that goes. I mean, this man just said, where you're like, if you try to help him, keeping on, and put his wheelchair in the car, he'll take your head off. Once you get to know him, and he has that independence that I think is so amazing and incredible. He's got to go get something. He's going to go get it. He's going to hop in the car and bring definitely there, and has never wanted to be a burden to anybody. Off of what you just said, where you're like, have this try to help, which I can respect incredibly. Put his wheelchair in the car, will take your head off. My grandmother, at different circumstances, but she was almost 101 years old, incredible, and it also shows she wanted to get up and go to the bathroom at 99. Definitely, she got out of the chair. She put her walker there, and she went, and she didn't want anybody making her do this, that, or whatever. She wanted to do it herself. So I mean, my grandmother, I can respect what you're saying about Jim, because almost 101 years old, and if he's got to do something, she wanted to get up and go to the bathroom at 99. She got out of the chair, she put her walker there, and she went, and she didn't want anybody making her do this, that, or whatever. She wanted to do it herself. So I mean, I can respect what you're saying about Jim, because it just seems like, if he's got to do something, he's going to go and do it. Nobody's going to stop him.
Jim got home and said, "Holy smokes, one of those refuse to lose kind of guys." Thanks a lot, Dad. Wheelchairs. It's a funny story. I'm trying to arrange for have somebody come out early on, take the chair out, and get it back where his dad helped him get in the house, his car. And mistakenly put the wheelchair
speaking here with Jim Jerome about his teammate and friend Jim DaRin in our Jim DaRin special here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora this morning, and to usher in the month of February. Jim, what can you say you've learned the most from Jim DaRin? What are those things that you really feel like you can say, Jim about his teammate and friend Jim DaRin in our Jim DaRin special here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora this morning, and to usher in the month of February. Jim, what can you say you've learned the most from Jim DaRin? What are those?
That's for all of us. It's just unbelievable. And that last deal he had when he had to go to Cooperstown, I keep the photo of him with all the stitches and drains and everything in him on my phone to remind me. It's like, hey, no matter how bad you hurt or whatever you got going on, awful in your life. Well, we knew what he's been through, and I'm sure you're unbelievable. And that last deal he had when he had to go to Cooperstown,
and it is, I think we live in a society where it's become so commonplace to complain about things, to complain about our coffee, to complain about traffic, to complain about Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and to be polarized. We live in a society where it's become having Jim in your life. Does that kind of keep you complain about things? To complain about when the news and social media, complain about just like life in general, Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, complaining about this, complaining about that. Do you feel like Jim is almost sometimes your compass all the time? Having Jim in your life, does that kind of keep you? Does that bring you back center when the news and social media and just like life in general is complaining about this and complaining about that? Do you feel like Jim is almost sometimes your compass?
And visit and. I mean, right after the accident, I agree with that. Yeah, we both have always been outdoorsy kind of guys. Mowing the lawn on a tractor, nature has helped found a way to stay a little more grounded than the normal piece of equipment, whatever. He was still going to have fun. He had a sports shop. He was not going to be a quitter. And we used to go out there and visit.
He told me he used to drag race.
Right after the accident, I mean, he was out there snowmobiling and hunting and mowing the lawn on a tractor. He just found a way with however he had to adapt whatever piece of equipment, whatever. He was still going to have fun.
Yeah.
And even with his hand controls, he wasn't afraid.
He told me he used to drag race.
Tickets were a lot cheaper back in those
days. Bring
me
into that. Yeah, so I mean, he used to drag, and you told me snowmobiling and hunting and whatnot. He spoke with me about the bow and arrow and
even with
his ability to that he learned it after his injury. After everything that went on, he learned how to go out there and shoot bow and arrow, and how good he became at it to actually win and be the only person
spoke with
with
me
any
about
type of
the bow and
disability
arrow
that had won when he went
his
to
ability to
a contest
that
like
he
a
learned it after his
whatnot.
injury.
What can you say to that?
After everything
this
that went
man knows
on,
how to shoot
he
a bow and arrow. He knows how to hunt.
Go out there and shoot bow and arrow.
There's a lot of things that he knows how to do that a lot of people don't.
To actually win and be the only person with any type of disability that had won when he went to a contest like a tournament and whatnot. What can you say to that? I mean, this man knows how to shoot a bow and arrow. He knows how to hunt. There's a lot of things that he knows how to do that a lot of people don't.
Jimmy was coaching. Actually, Jimmy got me into bow hunting. There was a gentleman, I think his name was Little John, and he was go up in back handicapped also, and he shot from a wheelchair and to hunt up behind the Muller Farms there. He had a place up in East Syracuse. Still knock him down. And I got my first bear
a man that can shoot a bow and arrow. I mean, I think about Sebastian Maniscalco, the comedian, and he said that his buddy had a bow and arrow in the house, and if an intruder came in, he would shoot this bow and arrow at him, and he said you got to kind of wrap your head around. There's an arrow in my chest. You know what I mean? That type of thing. How good is bow and arrow Jim DaRin at shooting this bow and arrow? And if an intruder came in, he would shoot this bow and arrow at him, and he said you got to kind of wrap your head around. There's an arrow in my chest. You know what I mean? That type of thing. How good is Jim DaRin at shooting this bow and arrow? From Jim Jerome, friend and teammate of Jim DaRin, as we honor Jim DaRin this morning. Jim, for you to look at this friendship over the years, do you have a fond memory or two, something that really sticks out when you think about Jim? That coming here from Jim Jerome, friend and teammate of Jim DaRin, as we honor Jim DaRin this morning. Jim, for you to look at this friendship over the years, do you have a fond memory or two, something that really sticks out when you think about Jim?
He didn't, and he fell out, and we're all just gasping for air, and we go, oh boy, now what have we done? We ran down and rolling around the Song Mountain. We got him on there and situated. That was thought about him used to brake a little more. We weren't sure Jimmy could handle more speed than even staying the silly thing on the way down.
I mean, he seems to be like, he loves that need for speed, and he likes the adrenaline rush still. I mean, what does that mean to you? That like you tell these stories about snowmobiling and we talk about drag racing and whatnot.
I mean,
and then going down this, you said I feel like he loves that need for speed, and he likes the adrenaline to still have that like fervor and that fire for life and that curiosity. What does that mean to you? That like you tell these stories about snowmobiling and we talk about drag racing and whatnot. And then going down this, he said, I feel like he was trying to get some more speed in this. He seems to still have that like fervor and that fire for life and that curiosity and also the challenge as well.
Just a tad. I think that's what keeps him alive. He can't get out driving for one reason or another. That's his piece.
And Jim, to speak on Jim DaRin in the sense of this, kind of a notion that you're making me think of while we're talking. How non-handicapped is he? And kind of the
can't get out driving that day for one reason or another.
Motif around that is the fact of like
Jim,
he just doesn't let it get him down, and he doesn't let it define him. So
you're making me think
how
of
much
while we're talking.
How people may
non-handicapped
is really just not who Jim DaRin is. I mean, I know that you know that, but. It just kind of that motif around that is the fact of like he's like the most non-handicapped person that I've met.
Get him down, and he doesn't let it define
by the way that he treats his life.
How much of what people may see is really just not who Jim DaRin is. I mean, I know that, you know that, but it's just kind of that motif of he's like the most non-handicapped person that I've met that's in a wheelchair by the way that he treats his life.
He's been through. He can't feel anything from his chest down. I'm reminded early on when he got himself a hand up. It's got to be. He ended up looking in the water, and it was all red. He was bleeding. He was getting burned, but he couldn't feel all that. And people only knew all he's been through. You know, he can't feel so much from his chest down. Doesn't complain. He soldiered reminded early on when he got into the definition of a trooper, I guess I'd have to say. He ended up looking in the water, and it was all red.
So friendship is obviously an important thing. It's a key ingredient to life, and your good friends, your great friends, ended up becoming your family, in my opinion.
Doesn't complain. He soldiers on.
How would you define what Jim DaRin has made of friendship in your life?
So
how does
friendship
being
is obviously
his
an important
friend
thing. It's a
and
key
a part of his
ingredient to
family,
life, and
how has that altered
your
and
good
enhanced
friends, your
the
great
definition
friends, end
of
up
a friend
becoming
in
your family, in my opinion?
Well, we old Orangemen,
how
from the
would
old
you
days
define
we're
what Jim
fiercely loyal
DaRin
to one
has
another,
made
and,
of friendship in your
we
life?
might not talk
How
for a
does
long
being
time, but
his
it's just
friend
like we
and
were
a part
still
of
on
his
the field
family,
yesterday, and we
how
hang
has
together,
that altered
we're tough
and
defend
enhanced
each other,
the definition of a friend?
and it's a special kind of relationship from the old days. Part of our school, we're fiercely loyal to one another, and you can count your good friends in life on one hand. But it's just like we were still on the field yesterday. One of those fingers. We hang together, and we're tough and defend each other.
How long has he been one of those fingers on your hand?
It's a special kind of relationship since day one. Jimmy's a part of that. Just because my grandfather he put it well by his example. Count your good friends in life on one hand. It's what he did and how he acted. Is one of those fingers. His family was tremendous. His mother and father. I mean,
how long has he been one of those fingers on your hand?
Dad, well, I'd have to say since day one, and it was not just because true earned support by his example. Took tickets and did everything. He said nobody more what he did and how he acted, and he told DaRin when his mother and father got a scholarship to SU, and he was a ticket taker up there. I think his chest puffed out about his fingers to the bone, and it was a
and I'm going to speak with Jim's brother Tom about the family a little bit more in part 2 of this that will air tomorrow for those of you watching live on February 2nd. But Italo, he told me a little bit about his dad and Italo and Virginia, their mother. What can you say about the DaRin family? Because Mom and Dad had a lot of kids, a lot of mouths to feed. Dad was a World War II vet, so there's a lot of background.
He told me a little bit about his dad and Italo and Virginia, their mother. What can you say about the DaRin family? Because Mom and Dad had a lot of kids, a lot of mouths to feed. Dad was a World War II vet, so there's a lot of background to Italo and Virginia as well.
That's what the whole family was. Yeah, that's another guy I loved. We bonded right away once I met.
And Tom told me there's no leftovers. So you're in a family with that many kids. There's no leftovers, and he told me that Virginia would say. And how Jim loves to cook, how Virginia would say, if any of the kids
no leftovers,
like, can you make me this?
You're in a family,
no, but I can show you how to make it.
There's
so
no
that you can make it yourself when you want it instead of just making it for you.
He told me that Virginia would
the
say,
DaRin family,
and how
to
Jim
go
loves
off
to
of
cook,
that notion,
how Virginia would say,
we're not just going to bring you the water, but we're going to bring the horse to the water.
Can you make me this?
And if you choose to
no,
drink,
but I could show you how to make it.
Just what you could say about the DaRin
yourself
family
when you want it instead of just making it
Italo
for you.
Obviously has a place in all this.
The DaRin family, to go off of that country,
and then Virginia, having
we're not just going to bring you the water, but we're going to bring the horse to the water,
teach you how to make it, so that one day you can do this for yourself.
Just what you could say about the DaRin family, and that Italo obviously has a place in all this and made sacrifices for his family and for the country, and then Virginia having the model of I'm not just going to make you the food, I'm going to
that God tried to even it out by giving Jim twin girls? I mean, do you think that that's his way of trying to balance?
All those boys and just two girls. It could well be. We all trust one of those big bosses growing up. Always does what DaRin house with all those boys. I like it some days, but we all got to just hang in there.
So do you think that God tried to even it out by giving Jim twin girls?
Jim obviously that's his way of trying to balance.
Mr. Jerome, and just what you could say about how faith guides you and how God has been a key part, if not the main part of your life.
You all got to just hang in there and put your faith in God. All the luck we've had. I mean,
and
you just
having
got to
that
look
faith,
to the heavens above.
Jim obviously has it. You have it too, Mr. Jerome. And just what you could say about how faith guides you and how God has been a key part, if not the main part of your life.
We're just kind of like a wolf pack. We stick together and we trust in the big boss. Got to look to the heavens above. I've been blessed.
This
Jimmy's
world
been
is
blessed.
crazy. We've learned that
great
this past year more than ever.
And leadership.
How do you keep your focus on God in a world that seems like it's trying to push God out? We're just
kind of like a wolf pack. We stick together and we trust in the big boss, and hopefully try to do the right thing. I'm not
this
really
world
a
is crazy.
guy for a number of reasons.
We've learned that this past year more than ever. How do you keep your focus on God in a world that seems like it's trying to push God out?
Trust in the big boss. Oh, it's a struggle. Hopefully he'll give us the light and we'll follow that light. I'm not really a church-going guy for a number of reasons.
Tortora, inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, honoring his friend and teammate Jim DaRin here today. Jim, before I let you go, you said your health isn't the greatest as well. What have you gone through, and what has it taught you? I mean, you've seen your friend Jim DaRin go through adversity, and you just out of the Cafe Kubal Studios, honoring his friend. How has your personal adversity taught you here today? Positive things in life. Before I let you go, just how you said your health isn't the greatest as well. What have you gone through, and what has it taught you? I mean, you've seen your friend Jim DaRin go through adversity, and you just mentioned adversity for yourself. How has your personal adversity taught you positive things in life?
My shoulders are trashed, he said. And I said, well, I'll trade you a shoulder for a spine, because mine isn't the greatest, Danny.
And that's the thing, this sport of football, as I said earlier, it takes so much, and it's such a sacrifice playing a sport that is so barbaric that can affect you down the road in life. Do you regret it at all that you played this sport, knowing that, there are spinal injuries and there's been amputations, there's, CTE, there's so many things that have come with the sport of football. Do you regret a moment of playing, knowing that playing this barbaric sport is essentially going up against wrecking balls all the time?
No, I'd have to answer no to that one. Another old teammate of mine put it best. He goes, if it wasn't for SU offering us a football scholarship, where might we all be today? That was a tough time. The Vietnam War was raging. We might have had to go to war and never been back. Or, one of the guys said, I might be pumping gas in a gas station if not for the orange. So, I think we'd all do it over the same way. We had that love, and we didn't worry about anything getting injured back then. You could heal in the off season, they said.
Yeah, and now as you have this extended off season, what's life like for you now? What's going on in the world of Jim Jerome?
Oh, my wife's retired, and we got 2 great daughters and some great grandkids, and we're just enjoying the heck out of our grandkids and doing the best we can.
I got to ask you 2 things about that, because I have not experienced either, and I hope to someday. What's it like being a father, and what's it like being a grandfather?
Well, when you're in the delivery room and you see your first child being born, that's a wake-up call. I'll tell you what, life changes immediately that day. And you go through those years, and they pass ever too quickly. And boy, when that first grandchild comes back, it's the same old emotion all over again, only squared.
As a grandfather, do you spoil them more than your children? How can, because some people say that you always do more for the grandkids than the kids. Other people say it's equal. So I got to ask, from your perspective, do you and your wife spoil the grandchildren more than your children, or how is it in your household?
That is a struggle. We try not to, but boy, oh boy, there's a lot of push-pull going on there, believe me. We have to chat and weigh things out and decide if it's the best course of action on a lot of things.
And so for you, Jim, to go back to football here for a second before I let you go, the Syracuse Football Club only voted in your buddy Jim DaRin 400-0. What can you say about him being the president of the Syracuse Football Club? It's obviously separate from the university. It functions separately from the university. What can you tell me about your thoughts on him being the president of the club and what it means to you to see him try to lead the alumni forward?
Well, what better example than Jimmy to talk about adversity and struggles, how to get through it. And he's done a wonderful job of kind of transitioning us from the old to the newer school and he's reached out great with the younger guys and trying to bring them in because it's a struggle, and he's basically presented a whole new model for the club, and the guys are embracing it and loving it. And the nice thing about our football club, we can do things for each other that the university can't do because of NCAA rules and different things. And our mantra is players helping players, which is what we try to do.
And what have you taken from that so far about the experience? I know that you got a Zoom call and do different things during the pandemic, but what can you say? Where have you seen Jim DaRin's positive effect on the alumni?
Well, everybody brings something new to the table, a little different flair. And Jimmy's brought some new and younger faces in with some great ideas because, honestly, probably we got a little old and stodgy. And I think Jimmy's freshened things up a bit. Our numbers are up. Guys are seeing the benefit of the club. We can help guys. The after-football life is difficult when you transition. We're trying to help players with mentoring and job placement, and health issues, and a lot of different things. And something I'm working on a little bit now with some drug and alcohol counseling, and a place where guys can reach out and try to get some support in different ways, because that's a part of life today, like it or not.
And with that, there's so much with CTE, with injuries, with pain, with trying to find something to do after football when it's all that people know, and then maybe that was all that they had their sights set on. You talk about drug abuse and alcohol abuse and whatnot. What can you say the Syracuse Football Club is doing to try and be there for people and let people know that they're not alone, and to hopefully get them on a better path? Because everybody wants to talk about the football player on the field, but they don't want to talk about the football player when they're off the field.
No, they don't. And the Chris Gedney situation really, really hit us right between the eyes.
Yeah.
Myself, maybe more so. So that was kind of like a call to action. And one of our past Zunic winners, Tommy Hermanowski, he had an experience with some alcohol issues and everything, and he just got himself straight and became a great mentor. And we're using him as an asset up in Connecticut for a landing place for guys to direct them to different facilities and so forth to help get them to a better place.
That coming here from Jim Jerome. Jim, final note here. As your friendship has evolved with Jim DaRin, favorite thing to do with him now? Like when you guys do get together, what do you like to do now?
Probably giggle like little girls, I guess.
So, I can understand because Jim likes to laugh. Does he cook for you? Has he cooked for you?
No, we don't do that stuff. That's kind of personal. I do bring him some venison from time to time, seeing as how he can't get out and get his own anymore.
Fair. So giggling like schoolgirls, that's okay, but the cooking for each other can't do. I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
That coming from Jim Jerome here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and this special to his friend and teammate Jim DaRin. Jim, I know it's the first time you've been here on the show with us, but I'd love to have you back, and I appreciate you taking your time here this morning with me, and thank you so much for just being here and shedding some light on a man that has really touched my life, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, and God bless you, and thank you for all that you do, Dan. You're the best.
Well, thank you, Jim, and God bless to you, and I'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right, have a great day, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
That coming from Jim Jerome here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Very, very happy to be here, and appreciate the fact that he's been here with us, spending some time with us on the show today, Mr. Jim Jerome. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll come back right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora.
Avicoli's Restaurant, located right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road, is proud to be your local neighbor. growing with you for over 20 years. We're open 7 days a week for lunch, dinner, and drinks. For takeout, delivery, or catering, call us at 315-622-5100. When you order online and use our promo code AVS10, you will save 10% on your online purchase at myavocolis.com. And make sure to join us monthly for our live on-site broadcasts centered around Liverpool athletics. Avocolis, your local, trusted neighbor right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road.
Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
Trapper's Pizza Pub, located on 5950 Butternut Drive in East Syracuse. Right off of Bridge Street is your local community supporter right around the corner. Join us on site at Trapper's Pizza Pub for our live monthly broadcast supporting Central New York student athletes and their sports programs. Call 315-438-4444 for more information. And find us on Facebook and Instagram at Trapper's Pizza Pub. Trapper's Pizza Pub, your local community supporter, right around the corner.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, as well as on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, where you're listening. You're watching on Facebook Live, on facebook.com/live-now-dt, as well as on YouTube Live, on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. So plenty of places to watch and listen to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and very happy to have you here live every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where sports truly meets that thing called life. So, with that being stated, inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, I want to let you know that Cafe Kubal is available to you all throughout Central New York with 4 locations in Syracuse and the newest location in Manlius. You can get to them on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, as well as 208 North Townsend Street and 401 South Salina Street in Syracuse, and then their Manlius location on 343 Fayette Street. Right when you come into Manlius, when all of the roads converge on that one building, I call it the Welcome Building to Manlius. It is that giant, jagged, brown and striped building there for you, Cafe Kubal, available to you. And now, with everything being lifted, and God willing, this pandemic will go away and stay away for good. We now have the opportunity for indoor sit-down dining in every single location of Cafe Kubal, so you can go there to any one of their locations, get some coffee, get something to eat, sit down and relax. Their upstate sandwich is fantastic, as well as their chocolate chip banana bread, which I got with Evan when he used to live here. And then when he came back here and we just road tripped a few days ago, we went to Cafe Kubal to go on the road trip. He got his coffee, I got my chai, and we got the last 2 pieces of the chocolate chip banana bread. And I didn't even have to say anything to him. He went up and got his first. So after all those months, it was cool that that was a flavor that he still wanted, that was top of mind to him. So it just shows you the awesome work that Cafe Kubal does. And no matter how far you are away from them, you always want to come back and get some more. So, such a great thing that Cafe Kubal does, and I want to thank him for that. Inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', I want to thank Jim DaRin for being a part of the show and allowing me to go into his house and to sit with him and speak with him. Not only for this special, but more importantly, as we've built our friendship and our time together. Jim here with us in part 1 of the broadcast today. Part 2 is going to air tomorrow, and you'll have the opportunity to continue to see Jim inside of his home in our little fireside chat as we continue our conversation tomorrow morning. So I'm very excited for part 2 of our Spotlight special with Jim DaRin from his home. So there's plenty more video to come, and there will be an audio version for those of you that may only be able to listen through audio. For those that are blind, I want to make sure that we reach out to everybody and that nobody misses this event. So it'll be available for audio tomorrow too at 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Jim Jerome, I want to thank him for joining us today, a friend and teammate of Jim DaRin. He was a senior on the defensive side of the ball when Jim was a freshman on the offensive line. And like he said, normally freshmen had to pay their dues, but Jim DaRin got a pass from the seniors because he was that good. And that's such an awesome thing to hear, and I'm sure for Jim it's an awesome thing to hear as well. Jim Jerome speaking on his friend and the positivity and the goodness of having an awesome relationship with somebody that becomes part of your family. So Jim Jerome joining us today. Tomorrow, like I said, part 2 will start the same way as today, 9:15 a.m. You will see Eastern Time. You'll see and hear from Jim DaRin in part 2 of our special from his home. And then after that, just like we had Jim Jerome today at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, tomorrow we'll have his brother Tom DaRin joining the show. So it'll be the same format, Jim first, and then someone very close to him speaking on their relationship. Tomorrow it will be Tom DaRin, his older brother, will be joining us on the broadcast. Older by less than 3 years, just 2 years and some change. So excited to have Tom DaRin on the show tomorrow, and so much more coming up. We're going to take our final step aside for a fast break, and when we come back, we'll wrap up today's show and bid you adieu for the day and send you on your way right after this.
Cafe Kubal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafekubal.com. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
Mon Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpazsnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make sure you download their app and head their way every Tuesday through Sunday. You can get the app on the Google Play or Apple App Store. It's very user-friendly, gives you their entire menu of homemade salads to their homemade desserts and breads, their brick oven pizzas, quinoa and rice bowls, and their sandwiches named after the families that helped to settle what is today's Pulaski. Ingrained in our taste buds, ingrained in our community, they are the place to travel to, whether it's a mile away or 30 miles away. The Millhouse Market is worth the drive every time. And on the weekends, their bistro is now open, so you can go dine inside, and you can go to their general store throughout the week to get local products from local companies. And of course, the drive-up window, you can still go there to grab your food and go. And on the app, you can order and have contactless pay. So if you're still looking to sit in the car, grab and go, you could do that very easily at the Millhouse Market, keeping it simple, keeping us safe, and giving us those flavors that we didn't even know how much we would love. Their combinations and concoctions are absolutely incredible, and they're second to none. That's why I love driving out to the Millhouse Market, and that's why I will continue to. 3790 New York, 13 in Pulaski, New York. Worth the drive every time. With that being stated here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank you for being a part of today's broadcast of the show. I hope you all have an incredible, incredible day, and that you stay safe and stay well. If we do get the snow, or you're one of the places getting the snow, please just be careful out there and be smart about what you do, right? Leave a little bit earlier, drive slow, and just be safe, right? It's worth getting there alive. Not getting there fast, but getting there alive. So do what you have to do to practice safety, and not just for yourself, but for the people around you and those living creatures in general around us. So just be the best you can be today, and take the time to take the time. Cafe Kubal Studios here, where you have Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT and on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT. You're also listening on WakeUpCallDT.com and on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you set those channels and get them ready to go. MixLR obviously has an app. Facebook has an app. YouTube has an app. So you can pick us all up there. And we have a very user-friendly website on WakeUpCallDT.com. Once the shows air live on video and audio, you'll also be able to get them in the archives by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or searching one word Wake Up Call DT on Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, MixLR, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podbean, and more, and finding our videos on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT. A proud thanks to our Central and Upstate New York partners, Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Avicoli's, where you could get 10% off by going to myavicoli's.com, and all your online orders, every little bit helps. Go to myavicoli's.com and use the promo code AVS10 for 10% off. Honda City of Liverpool, Chick-fil-A, Cicero, Pizza Man, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, the Millhouse Market, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. If you go to Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com and use the promo code in any one of the 50 states, they will ship it to you with 20% off if you use my personal code DT20. Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com. Whether you're living here locally or you're in any one of the 50 states, you can order online for in-store pickup or delivery and get 20% off at Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com by using my promo code DT20. That is DT20. Thank you to Jim DaRin and Jim Jerome today inside of MaandPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Thank you to each and every single one of you for listening and watching the show. We will be back tomorrow with part 2 of our special on February 2nd with Jim DaRin at 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time. His brother Tom DaRin will join us after that at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. A thanks to Jim as well as Jim Jerome today, and I look forward to talking with you all soon. Find us on social media at WakeUpCallDT on Facebook, at CallDT on Twitter, and at WakeUpCall_DT on Instagram. And as always, God bless, no stress, do your best.